We will go to unfinished business. We have none. Consent agenda. If there are any items on the consent agenda that you wish to withhold for further discussion, please let me have your lights, Councilmember Lewis.
Page 3, item.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry.
Mayor, did we want to do the presentation?
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We do have this has been going, Deborah, I'm sorry. We left you back there. Quarterly financial report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. I'm happy to come before you today, Mayor and Council, to present the first quarter of fiscal 15 financial report. What I have put on everybody's desk is actually 3 monthly reports compiled together. They're the revenues and the expenditures of what we consider the major operating funds, and then some other funds that have piqued interest in council, and the report seems to be growing over time. So I want to say that I'm going to work with the city manager to streamline this report to be more informative and less detailed going forward in the future. We're going to work on that together. So what we have is also to get to the council the AP check register for each of the 3 months in the first quarter. And I have a quarterly investment report in there. I did that by the quarter. Everything else is monthly. The tax reports from Jefferson County. Okay, and I wanted to point out some highlights that I think are highlights anyway. In the general fund of the major operating funds, the general fund, the water sewer fund, and the solid waste fund are considered the major operating funds of the city. In the general fund, industrial revenue for the first quarter came in at $28.6 million, and that's $5.8 million more than last period at this time.
Wow.
And sales tax collections came in there $206,000 less than the last period at this time.
206,000.
Did I say 1,000?
Yes. No, yeah, less you said?
For 3 months, yes. Sales taxes still trending downward. We've done some investigation on that, and we think that it's going to be leveling off, and with the new investment in the city, it'll start to trend back upward.
But you said, now the industrial revenue was 28.6. You said that's $5 million more?
More than we compare period to period. And if you look in the report, we'll have the month of December for 2014, and then we'll have on the other page the month of December for 2013, just to compare one period to the next to see how we're doing compared to the previous year. Okay. Operating revenues for the quarter are up $5.8 million, and that's got to do with the industrial district tax coming in. We're past the prepayment credit now, so we're collecting more industrial tax, and we have those new agreements, which is allowing us to collect a little more industrial tax. So we expect that going forward. Okay. Also, operating expenditures are up. Also, we have employee increases, we have raises. You know, most of our expenditures are in our people, so expenditures are up. In the water and sewer fund, we talk about that more, just revenues over expenditures, because that's monthly. It's it averages monthly the same coming in. So in the water and sewer fund, revenues are over expenditures, $763,000. So the water and sewer fund so far in this quarter is operating in excess revenues. And in the solid waste fund, however, there's operating at a deficit for the quarter. Okay, so expenditures are over revenues for the quarter in the solid waste fund. I've also included, as I said, the quarterly investment report. That shows we earn, I should say, a paltry $2,300 for the quarter. And the tax reports are in there from Jefferson County showing the taxes that were collected. And we also show the industrial taxes collected by the finance department in the tax reports also. And that's my presentation for the quarter. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and
Councilmember
if
Swati?
not, if you don't have questions now, if you want to take time and look at the detail, you can forward your questions through the city manager, and we'll try to answer any detailed questions that you might have.
Councilmember Swati?
Ms. Deborah,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's because I'm new, but can we get a copy of this report
It's
when you
on your
present it?
desk.
We put one
It's
on
on your
everybody's desk.
Where's it at?
Oh, he has to learn where his desk
I'm
is.
so sorry.
That's one of the
That's-
things.
If I
that's-
didn't put it in your, I put one in Councilman Lewis's hand, but I put one
Yes.
on everybody's desk.
Okay.
We'll show it to
Sorry
you
about
right
that.
after this meeting is over.
I'll look over it, and if I have any questions, I'll ask
Okay.
it. All right, thank you.
Generally,
We're
we try to
sorry.
get them on your desk by Friday,
Okay.
if not Friday,
So-
by Monday before council meeting.
Yeah. Councilmember Mosley?
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Ms. Echols. The only
morning.
question, I think I kind of heard you say that on the solid waste department that the expenses were up. Can you can you tell me what is going on that is that's causing us to have this increase in the expenditures being above expectation in the solid waste department? What areas are we having problems where we're having to have to spend more money here?
Give me a second.
Okay.
It looks as if the expenditures are up in the landfill operations division.
Landfill.
Yes, sir.
That is the only expense area that,
That's where the
The
increase
increases
is, in the landfill operations
so
division.
what
I would
is,
think any more detail would be directed to the director of that division, or Public Works. All right.
okay. All right, okay, thank you very much.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yes, Deborah, you probably anticipated my question. What's the status of the potential rebate back to the state dealing with the industry?
As to my knowledge, the audit has not been completed, and we have not been directed to give any rebate.
Okay.
Generally, I would like to say, though, the potential rebate that you're talking about is quite large, and we do get credits from time to time. And if we get one that's large, we are able to communicate with the state that we have already budgeted. It's happened before. We got one this year that wasn't as big as the one you're talking about. And so what I'll do is I'll write to the state and I'll say, well, we've already budgeted our revenues for this year. Can we put this off? And they're always amenable. And then what we'll do is we'll work out a payment arrangement. So when it does come in, if it does come in,
If you come in.
if it comes in and when it comes in, what we'll do is we'll communicate with the state and we'll work out a payment. We don't have to pay all that back at one time.
That's the important thing.
Yes. So, for example, we got one this year that's $600,000 of credit
Okay.
on sales tax. So I wrote them a letter and told them we've already budgeted, and it came early in the year, but we've already budgeted for this year. Can we wait and start paying it back next year,
Right.
and can we put it over 4 years? And they wrote back, yes, surely you can.
Good.
So that's going to be taken into account in our upcoming budget. We'll budget for that credit going back to the state
Okay.
over a 4-year period. And something as big as the one that you're talking about, I'm sure that they'll let us do that over many years
That'd be great. That's
to
great.
spread it out.
Good. I was hoping that's the route because I was in touch with the tax people with the company.
Well,
And-
I called them, and I called the comptroller's office, and they were not, when it came up, they didn't even have the audit ready, or started, of the sales tax. And they said it can take a year or two to do that audit.
Right.
And then the ruling will come in. So we'll have to just incorporate that into our future budgets.
Good. I noticed you on the investment reports here. I guess that's very conservative.
Well,
we can't risk taxpayers' money.
Honestly, most of our money has been in the pools, and the pools are paying less than 1%, less than 1%, less than 0.5%. we're going to look into fixing that. We're going to look into doing a little better. We used to do a little better when I was the revenue manager and I was the treasurer, and that was a big part of my job, was investing the money. We did a little better, but now that I'm staffed up in the accounting department, and I've taken that from the comptroller, and I'm going to take back over, you'll see some difference in the next quarter or the upcoming quarter. We can find some better interest rates and still keep the taxpayers' money safe.
Water and sewage.
But our first objective is always safety.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yield is the last one, SLY, safety, liquidity, and yield. So the first is to keep it safe and liquid. And we've got so many we've got that big public works project going on with that big water line extension with Cheniere. So that money is being kept liquid. We're not trying to earn money on that because that's really not our money. It's sitting there, but it's really, we don't want to ever have that tied up to where then it's time to pay a big $8 million bill and the money's not available and we'd have to sell something to do that. So we're keeping that money very liquid. And as you all know from your own savings account, liquid money just doesn't earn anything anymore.
I hear you. Our water and sewage fund, is there any hope for that?
There's always hope, Councilman.
What's our deficit now on water and sewage fund? How much they owe the general fund? You have any idea?
It's about the same as the last time I reported. It's
In
around
the
$30 million.
red by what, 30 million?
Yes,
plus?
sir. But we're hopeful that when we start to sell this water,
Right. How much water are you selling now?
that you might want to ask the
Oh, okay, well.
Director of Water Utilities.
We'll talk about it later.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right.
But yes, sir.
But it's encouraging. We got future revenues coming.
It's
And
encouraging.
then water and sewage, so what they're doing, they'll carry you all. You all are showing the water and sewage. You're financing the water and sewage department out of the general fund,
Yes, sir.
okay? And hopefully, long term.
The debt service for the water and sewer and the some of the operating
That's like the debt
expenses.
service. Don't
Yes, sir.
forget about the debt service. Hopefully, the long term, we'll eventually get the proper revenues flowing, get it in the black, and then we get our tax rate back down long term.
Councilmember Freeman?
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Echols, maybe when I stepped out, you might have answered. Was it 2 years ago or last year that we were about $1 million short in sales tax? I know
From the budget, just to go back a few years, probably 5 years ago, maybe 4, our sales tax revenue just
yeah.
went through the roof. It went up.
Okay.
And since sales tax is confidential, we can only kind of conjecture where the money was coming from. And we were earning about $8 million, maybe $9 million every year in sales tax. Then it just went to $11 million. And I remember we were trying to figure out where it was coming from. We thought it was tied to actually an electrical substation. Come to find out it wasn't, because we got that electricity money in the same time the sales tax money came in. But that's not the case. We had an industry that was over-reporting sales tax to the tune of $2 million a year. They were reporting that it should have come to us, and they were paying it to us. Well, since then, they've caught their own mistake, and that's why our sales tax has gone back down to where it used to be.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what Councilman Lewis is talking about. Maybe we're probably going to have to pay those over-reportings back. We may.
Okay. My question, again, is since we're about 206, I think you said, behind right now in this first quarter, you do times 4, about 800.
Behind in what?
Are we short 206?
Oh, it's not that
down?
we're
Not short,
short.
but
We're
compared
less
to
than what we
year.
had last
Yes,
year.
ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Of course. Excuse me, and be more clarified. I'm scared about it. So just doing times 4, we're about eight something that possibly, and if we projected along the other 3 quarters, you think it's still the same thing that we've been having? It's still one of our big sales tax users?
I know that's what it is.
Okay.
So they were paying more, and now they're not. And so we won't see a parity until we get another year in, because they just caught their mistake last year.
Okay. So it'll balance out next year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
And we've taken that into account in our budgeting. So we're not budgeting as much for sales tax as we would in the past.
Okay.
So we're not short.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not at all. Just comparative.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
But
That was my
can I point you to the industrial revenue?
No, of course, the 5.8 is excellent.
All right.
But again, with those, we get most of those payments up at the beginning of the year, so we're
Yes.
not, we
They're all
can't expect
doing-
$5 million over every next quarter. We'll be
Right,
over.
and that's why I don't give you the excess revenues over expenditures for the general fund, because it would be misleading.
Yeah.
Because all that money comes in the first
Beginning of the year.
quarter. Even property tax comes in the second quarter, and then we have to spend out of that all year long. So it would just be misleading to say, oh, we made $50 million, $20 million
20,
this quarter, because it would be misleading. That's why I do that for the water and sewer, but not for the general fund.
Okay, so we're not going to get another surplus of 5 in the next 3 quarters.
We're going to get you'll see a little bit more industrial revenue come in the next quarter. It's already here. And there's one payment that comes in way at the end. It's due in September, one payment.
Okay.
It's
Excellent.
due in September, but they're all due in the first quarter. And
Excellent. Thank you. Let's spend it well.
Thank you so much, Deborah. I don't have any other lights on. Thank you so much.
thank you, Mayor.
Thanks to you and your staff. Okay,